Welcome to Mythos AI, your source for Cliff's Notes on complex subjects. Join Anna and Phil for yet another engaging conversation.
Ever scroll through your feeds and just feel like you're stuck? Seeing the same stuff over and over again, same articles, same opinions, just a different day.
Yeah, I think a lot of people can relate to that feeling. It's like being stuck in a bit of an echo chamber. And it's actually connected to this interesting concept called wave. Maybe you've heard of it.
Wave. Not ringing any bells. Sounds a little ominous, though, like something out of a William Gibson novel, all cyberpunk and dystopian.
Right. Haha. Maybe not quite that intense, but it is about how the internet's underlying structure shapes our experience.
Okay, so less digital mind control, more like what exactly?
More like, imagine the internet as a house, right? The people who originally designed and built that house, and in this case, they were heavily influenced by American culture and values back in the dot-com boom. Well, their choices still have a big impact on how that house feels to everyone living in it today, even if those people weren't around for the initial design phase. And that's kind of what Wave is getting at.
So you're saying that even though the internet is global now, it's still got this like underlying American DNA baked in.
Exactly. Think about it. Individualism, the whole idea of free expression, that entrepreneurial spirit,
Yeah.
those were really strong values in early internet culture. And they really had a huge influence on everything from, well, how social media platforms are designed to the algorithms that decide what we see in our feeds.
Okay, yeah, I see what you mean. But how does this Ming wave actually like play out in my everyday life, when I'm scrolling online?
Well, let's take social media, for example. There's this constant pressure to build your personal brand, right?
Yeah.
You're curating your profile, sharing your thoughts, your experiences. It's a very individualistic approach, and that can actually be kind of strange or even jarring for people from more collectivist cultures where the emphasis is more on we than me.
Yeah, totally. It's like the internet just assumes everyone wants to be an influencer these days. But
Yeah.
you also mentioned algorithms earlier. How do they fit into this whole meme wave thing?
Well, think about it like this. Let's say you're using a music streaming service, and it's recommending music you might like. If the early data that algorithm received was mainly from, say, American users who are listening to a lot of country music, well, it might keep recommending artists in that genre, even if you're someone in Japan who really prefers J-pop.
Oh, wow. So even if I'm like actively trying to find new music outside of my usual tastes, the algorithm could be, without me even realizing it, steering me back towards those familiar sounds.
Exactly. That's the Mave at play. It's
Yeah.
subtly shaping your choices based on those pre-existing patterns in the data. It's not necessarily that the algorithm is intentionally trying to limit you. It's more that it's working with a data set that reflects those initial, often very American-centric influences.
Okay, that makes sense, but it's also kind of unsettling when you really think about it. It's like
Yeah.
we think we're in control of what we see and do online, but are we really? Or are we just being subtly nudged down these predetermined paths? And this isn't just about music recommendations. This is like everything online, right?
Absolutely. It goes way beyond music, right? This
Yeah.
whole memwave effect. It influences the news we see, the opinions we come across, even to some extent who we connect with online.
Hmm.
It really does end up shaping how we see the world.
It's kind of like, I don't know, a little freaky, right? Like we're stuck in this mem wave matrix or something, but instead of dodging bullets, we're dodging like new ideas and different perspectives.
Yeah, it's definitely something to be aware of. But don't worry, it's not all doom and gloom. We're not headed for some kind of digital dystopia. Okay, good. Because I was starting to get a little worried there for a second.
Uh-huh. Yeah, no, it's not quite that dire.
Yeah.
There are definitely things we can do, ways to kind of break free from that wave pull. And a big part of it comes down to becoming more aware, more conscious of how we interact with the online world. It's like becoming a good digital citizen.
Digital citizen, I like that. It has a nice ring to it. But what does that actually mean? Like, what does a good digital citizen do differently? Do I need to learn some secret hacker code or something?
Haha, no, nothing like that. It can be a lot simpler than you might think. A big part of it is just diversifying your information diet. Like think about the news you read, for example. Instead of just sticking to your usual sources, what if you challenged yourself to explore publications from different countries, get a wider range of perspectives? Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So instead of just scrolling through my usual news app, I should maybe check out how, like, The Guardian is covering a story versus, say, Al Jazeera.
Exactly.
Mm.
You might be really surprised by the different insights and opinions you come across. And it's not just about news either. Think about the podcasts you listen to, the books you read, even who you follow on social media. Are you surrounding yourself with voices that already align with your own? Or are you actively seeking out different perspectives?
Yeah, you're right. It's easy to get stuck in a bit of a bubble online. It's like we're all driving down this internet highway, but we're kind of just following the same old route, you know? So, how do we switch lanes and discover some new scenery? How do we make sure we're not all just heading towards the same digital dead end?
That's a great question. And it brings up another important aspect of being a responsible digital citizen. It's not just about what we consume online, it's also about how we contribute to that online world. Every click we make, every article we share, every comment we leave it, all plays a role in shaping the overall digital landscape.
So, it's like before I hit that share button, I should be asking myself, am I adding something valuable to the conversation here? Or am I just, amplifying the noise?
Exactly. And is the information you're sharing accurate? Is it coming from a source you trust? And maybe most importantly, think about your own digital footprint, your online legacy. Is this something you'd be comfortable with representing you, not just today, but 5, 10 years down the line?
Wow, yeah. I've definitely shared things in the heat of the moment without really thinking about the long-term implications.
Oh, we've all been there. Right. But even that little pause, that moment of reflection before we share something, can make a huge difference. It's about becoming more mindful, more deliberate about how we're participating in this digital world.
It really makes you think, doesn't it, about the impact, like every little click and share.
It really does. It's like we're all adding our own little threads to this giant, constantly changing tapestry, the tapestry of information online. And the amazing thing is that we get to choose what kind of threads we add to it.
I like that analogy. So it's not about being perfectly informed or always knowing the right answer. It's more about just being aware, being thoughtful about how we engage with all of this.
Exactly. We're not just passively consuming information. We're active participants in this whole online world. We're digital citizens, right?
Right, citizens of the internet. That's kind of a cool way to think about it. So, okay, if I'm understanding you correctly, it's about being curious, being responsible, and maybe even a little adventurous online.
Absolutely. Don't be afraid to venture outside your comfort zone.
Mm.
Explore those different perspectives, challenge your own assumptions. You might be surprised by what you find.
Like digital globe trotting. I like it. But seriously, it's pretty empowering when you think about it like that. We all have a role to play in shaping a more, I don't know, a more interesting, more inclusive internet for everyone.
You got it. And who knows, you might just discover some really cool ideas along the way, connect with people you never would have otherwise, maybe even break free from that meme wave completely.
Now, that's a digital adventure worth having. So, to everyone listening, remember, you're a citizen of this online world. Explore it, engage with it, make your voice heard. Thanks for diving deep with us.
Thanks for listening to Mythos AI. Stay tuned for more concise insights. And remember to hit the like button and subscribe for future episodes.